one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The Board of Adjustments is a 9-member board. We are appointed by the City Council, and we serve on a voluntary basis without any compensation. Our procedure for conducting business is that I will call out the name of the petitioner and the item. Please come to the mic. Please speak clearly because your presentation is is being recorded. Anyone that has an interest in any particular item will be asked to come forward and voice their opinions or any concerns or ask any questions. Once we receive public testimony on a particular item, the members of the board will deliberate and we will render our decision. I'll remind the members with a personal or a financial interest in any item, you're required to recuse yourself from voting. Any testimony that is submitted by the petitioner or on behalf of the petitioner during the presentation of the agenda item will be binding as to any decision the board makes relative to that motion. I'll remind the members of the board that if you make a motion to deny an item, a reason must be given. At this time, I'll introduce the 5 members that are here tonight: Ms. K.T. Brown, Mr. Steve Hughes, Mr. Nathan Williams, Mr. Corey Johnson, and I'm John Stanley, your chairman. Our staff that's here tonight is Mr. Tommy Tyson, Mr. James Center, Ms. Adina Kramer, our recording secretary, and Ms. Paula Richardson. It takes 5 votes to have this meeting, and we have 5, but it also takes 5 votes to approve a motion. So if you feel like that might adversely affect your presentation, you can delay your presentation until next meeting without any additional charge. It is likely we'll have another member or 2 show up, but we're going to begin the meeting with 5 members. And if you feel as though that might affect the outcome of our decision, because if one person on this board does not agree to that motion, the motion will fail. Okay, everybody understand that? So you can delay, if you'd like, to the next meeting. Otherwise, we'll move forward. If you do wish to delay, please see Ms. Kramer over here to my left. Okay, we have 11 items on the agenda tonight, and we'll move forward with them one by one, beginning with item number 1, that is presented by Glenn Gould, requesting a height variance for a privacy fence to be located at 1918 Ridge Avenue in an R75D zoning district. Mr. Gould?
Glenn Gould, 1918 Ridge Ave. We just want to put an 8-foot fence around our property, about 234 feet.
Okay. And I believe the Architectural Review Board has approved this fence?
Yes, they have.
Okay. So board members, we're talking about just a 1-foot height variance. Any questions, board members? Is anyone in the audience care to address this item? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
So be it.
Have a motion from Ms. Brown to approve. Do I have a second? Second. Second from Mr. Williams. Any further discussion? All in favor of the motion, please raise your hand. It's approved.
Thank you.
It looks like it's out of order here. It is.
You got 11 on.
Yeah, this is out of order. Everybody got item number 11 there?
I got 11.
Yes.
Item, is shown here as item 11. That should be a 2. Okay. Item 2 is presented by Rosalind Collins, requesting a side yard variance for an addition to the dwelling located at 4844 Alamont Drive in an R65S district. Is Ms. Collins here? Okay. We'll hold that over and come back to it, see if she shows up. Item 3 is presented by Kyle Kaiser, representing KMB Alley LLC, requesting a height variance, a setback variance, a sign area variance for a new ID sign to be located at 2040 Berry Hill Road in an O1 zoning district. Kyle, before you get started, now I understand that this sign could go on either side of that entrance, right?
That's correct. And we're okay with removing alternate 2 as something for consideration this evening. So we can just address the
Well, let's, I think the one that we're going to prefer is the one that's going to be least offensive to traffic side of view.
Okay,
Which
so
probably alternate 1 is the best one, correct?
that's correct. That's the one that we would prefer, alternate 1.
And because alternate 2 could create a sight visibility for traffic coming from your left, right?
That's correct.
Okay, so let's assume we're going to do alternate 1
Okay.
for now. Okay, go ahead.
All right. Our reasoning for requesting the setback is being on a corner lot, I'm told the setback variance is 20 feet as opposed to a typical 10, being on a regular lot. One unique thing, there's the property line already, there's I think it's 20 feet from the curb back to the property line. So we're already really a car length back from the street at the property line. And so we're asking for 8 feet off that property line for the setback. With the current 20 feet, there's almost not enough area to put a sign in that island. It gets down to being about 5 or 6 feet that you could put a sign in there, and that would be if it was pushed all the way back up against the building in that radius of the curve.
Okay. And then you're asking for a variance regarding
The size
height.
variance, the reason we're requesting that is the building, this is a double, it used to be 2 individual lots, and we have combined them and had them replatted into a larger lot, and we're building a building twice the size as any of the other buildings down Berry Hill. And so it's being set up to be a building that can accommodate up to 4 tenants. And so we're just requesting a little bit larger sign that would allow us, and you can see in the picture, we kind of dotted them in, but just showing where we could put up to 4 signs there in kind of 4 little different quadrants set up in the future. So just trying to have a little more room for a little more flexibility long term.
in the height.
And the height, yes, in doing that, because of trying to keep it from getting too wide and working with the setbacks off the street, we're just trying to make it a little bit taller. So we're going from whatever the minimum is up to 10 feet off the ground.
But in no event will any part of it block sight visibility for traffic.
It does not, no, sir.
Is the sign lit?
It will have 2 ground lights that'll be on either side that'll shine up on the sign.
Okay. So it's not internally lit, it's not blinking,
No blinking,
anything like that?
very nondescript, just.
Okay? Any questions, board members? Anyone in the audience care to address this item?
Will you entertain a motion?
The chair will entertain a motion.
I move for the granting of the variance for the 4 feet height, 12 feet setback variance, and a 64 square foot sign area. Alternate 1, 2 ground lights, and no blinking.
Okay? Have a motion to approve from Ms. Brown.
A second.
Have a second. Is that Mr. Williams?
Mr. Johnson.
Oh, Mr. Johnson, excuse me. Any further discussion? All in favor of the motion, please raise your hand. It's unanimous.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Item 4 is presented by Julian Blaylock, requesting a height variance and front yard variance for a privacy fence to be located at 515 Wakefield Court in an R85 zoning district. Mr. Blaylock?
Sir. Evening.
Good evening.
How are y'all?
Good.
Hello.
Thank you. Tell us exactly what you want to do.
Well, as you'll see, my driveway kind of curves down toward the street. There is a tree that's probably 10 feet off of a pine tree at the bottom that's probably 10 feet off of the curve. And I'm asking to run the privacy fence down the red line, probably just around where the 20-foot mark is, to where when I walk out my front door, I don't have to look over toward my neighbor. Because I can't really go much further than that anyway because of a bush.
You lose some privacy.
Yes, sir.
You understand that?
That's what I saw.
Yeah, okay. Understand any questions, board members? Anyone in the audience care to address this item?
Entertain a
I'll
motion.
entertain a motion.
So be it.
Have a motion to approve from Ms. Brown. Do I have a second? Second. Second from Mr. Hughes. Any further discussion? All in favor, raise your hand. You got it.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank y'all.
Have a good day.
Item 5 is presented by J. Tidwell, requesting a special exception to keep chickens at 4021 West Fair Road in an R100 zoning district. Mr. Tidwell?
Good afternoon, Mr. Stanley.
Hello.
All of us.
Ma'am.
Good afternoon, all of us.
Yeah, I'm Jay Tidwell, so I was just requesting to legally have chickens in my backyard.
You want to keep up to 12 chickens?
Yes, sir. And I have a total of 3-acre lot. I've talked to my neighbor there to the left, Mr. Sanford, and Mr. Malcolm Brazel behind me, and my son-in-law who lives to the right at 4027, Cole Smith, is sitting in the audience. I hope he's here, not against it, but he should. I believe he's here for it.
No roosters.
No, sir, not at all.
You are in compliance with the required chicken coop regulations?
Yes, sir, I understand
As
according to the
required by the
guidelines
city?
that you have to be 10 foot from the property line, at least 25 foot from a structure other than your own a residential structure, so I'm well in compliance of those items.
Jay, do they stay in the coop or do they roam your backyard?
No, sir, they will stay in the coop because the German Shepherd and the Blue Heeler would have a chicken snack.
And hogs.
Yes, sir.
Got it. Any questions, board members?
Is this a business you're running or?
No, sir. I have 2 small children. My wife's a stay-home mom, and we've had chickens years ago in the past, and just wanted. We actually eat the eggs. We get eggs from friends that have chickens, and so we just wanted as a hobby, and certainly not to sell the eggs. So just have for our own use.
And you have conferred with the neighbors on both sides?
Yes, ma'am. Actually, yes, ma'am. Like I said, if you're facing the picture there, my neighbor to the right at 4027 is my son-in-law, Cole Smith, and he's sitting here in the audience. And then Dickie Sanford next door, I spoke with him about it, and he was fine with it. And then Mr. Malcolm Brazel lives behind him, is adjacent to my property. He's fine with it as well.
Okay.
Any other questions? Anyone in the audience care to address this item?
Entertain a motion?
Chair will entertain a motion.
So be it.
Second.
Have a motion from Ms. Brown and a second from who?
Mr. Johnson.
Mr. Johnson. Any further discussion? All in favor, please raise your hand. Mr. Williams? Got it. Okay. You approved,
Thank you.
Jay.
Okay. That comes the next item as well.
I guess you stand up there.
All right. Item 6 is presented by Mr. Tidwell, representing Iglesia de Dios Pentecostes El Refugio. Requested, did I get that right?
I got Mr. Jose Perez. He's translating for the church.
Hang on, I got to finish reading this.
Yes, sir.
Item. Requesting a special exception for a church to be located in a building at 2201 Chestnut Street in an M1 zoning district. And we have the hours of operation here. I believe I'm just going to go ahead and read these out, make sure, because it's important that you guys understand you have to comply with these hours if this motion is approved. On Wednesdays from 7:30 p.m. to 9 o'clock p.m. On Fridays, 7:30 p.m. to 9 o'clock p.m. Sundays, 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And so we are considering this property for use, for church use, right?
Yes, sir.
This is not for a daycare. This is not for a food bank, or this is for church use only, okay? So when you talk about it, tell us what you're gonna do about lighting outside. Are you gonna have outside activities? And making sure you're not gonna change anything to do with the parking lot.
Can I speak to that first?
Sure, go ahead.
Oh, I'd just like to mention that this property, since I believe about the 1950s, has been a place of assembly for the Montgomery Area Square Dance Association. So, really, they use the property about 3, sometimes 4 times a week. Have adequate parking. It's all concrete parking. They don't plan to change anything about the building. Maybe internally, set their pews up and such, but outside lighting's in place. This particular building's been in place since the 70s. There's some of the homes are vacant and abandoned around the property, so it's going to be a great add to the community. A lot of the church members live in the community. They have a congregation of about 80 to 100 that regularly attend. And Mr. Jose Perez, if you'd like to answer some questions.
What about let's talk about the lighting. I don't recall the condition of the lighting, but lighting is particularly important because you're going to have late night services.
Yes, sir. John, I've had that, Mr. Stanley, I've had that building listed for a couple of years. They've got some outside flood lighting. They had one like security light up on this, I guess that would be the southwest end of the property, and they had a tree fell, so they're going to replace that light. It was a power company light. I'm not sure what other outside lighting, but I know that it's a aging congregation or aging membership now with the square dance. So I know I think they've had adequate lighting.
How many members did you say they have?
About 80.
Last time I was over there, the parking lot needed striping.
He's already asked to do that prior to closing, actually.
Need to restripe that parking lot.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Okay, because when you don't, then, it's cars park everywhere.
Yeah.
Are you planning to use both accesses? You got an access off of Poplar and one off Chestnut, right? Or is it just off of Poplar?
It's the access that the Square Dance Association uses is the one on Poplar only, and they had actually planned to put a gate on Chestnut. There's some barricades there now, not on the street, but on their property side.
So your only access could be from Poplar?
They would plan to only use Poplar
Not
Street.
from Chestnut?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I know at one time there was multiple accesses there.
Yeah, you had access from the dead end of Chestnut, and as Poplar, like I said, you can come by the barricades on Chestnut now if you tried. I'm not sure if the city closed that or if I don't know what the history on that is, but it's like I said, there's barricades.
Tell us about any outdoor activities, because you are in a neighborhood there.
The Square Dance Association, there's a little shed up there, like a barbecue shed.
Right.
That they've used from time to time when they had functions. I think the church, they've talked about using that for when they have maybe a revival, once a year or whenever they have that. From my conversations, they haven't planned to use it to feed the community or do anything other than use it.
Yeah.
Really use the property the way it's been used, but just a church rather than the.
So your activities pretty much could be limited to barbecues in that shed, right? Would you say that's correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, all right. Would you gentlemen like to say anything, or are you just gonna let Jay speak for you?
Well, he's translating.
He did a pretty good job.
He did a great
Yeah,
job.
he does.
He answered all my questions.
Would you like to
Anybody
say
else? I think we got it. I think, anybody else got any questions? Everybody okay? Everybody okay? You got anything else to say, Jay?
No, sir.
Did I miss
Unless y'all have
anything?
Any other questions?
Did I miss anything?
No, sir, I don't believe so.
Are you gonna do any additional landscaping around the building?
The only thing they mentioned was, cleaning up some of the kudzu, that's the old railroad bed, and they mentioned just cleaning up some of the kudzu and.
It's gotten overgrown over there.
Yes, sir.
Y'all need to clean that place up.
Yeah, they've actually, trying to get closed next week or maybe the following week, and they've already asked to come over this Saturday and gotten permission to clean up, bring the church congregation over there Saturday and have a work day, so.
We have a lot of children too, so.
Okay. Well, be sure to stripe your parking lot before you start
And
services,
we had
okay?
the conversation, Tuesday about.
Yeah, can you do that?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Anyone in the audience care to address this item? I'll entertain a motion.
I so move that we grant the
The use variance.
request with the understanding of all that you've said is necessary for them to do. You got all
Okay,
that?
did y'all get all that?
Okay.
Ms.
Clean
Brown
up
made the
around-
motion based
Clean up
on,
around the area.
based on all the items that I covered, that are part of their testimony and approval. Y'all got all that, right, Paula? The lights, the landscaping, or the cleanup,
Not daycare, no food bank. Striping.
parking lot
Outside
striping.
lighting in place, access from.
You got all that,
Parkville.
Paula? Okay. Y'all okay with all those items?
Yes, sir.
There's nothing in it, what we're asking is nothing any different than we ask others. Same kind of thing.
And I looked at it, so what you said was true.
Okay, any other discussion? Ms. Brown made a motion to approve, Mr. Williams second the motion. Any further discussion? All in favor, raise your hand. It's unanimous.
Thank you so much.
You're
Good
welcome.
luck.
Yeah, good luck. Y'all got a nice piece of property there. Item 7 is presented by Austin Overman, requesting a side yard variance for an accessory structure located at 3340 Richardson Road in an R75 zoning district. Mr. Overman, you
I'm
want
just
to
looking to-
maintain an existing detached carport, right?
Yes,
That comes within 3 feet 6 inches of the property, whereas 5 feet is required. So you need a 1.6 side yard variance.
correct.
Is that correct?
Yes.
What are you doing about your water? Are you keeping the water off your adjacent property owner?
I can put a gutter on the building if needed. I really think the elevation right there, most of the water is coming my way anyway. The lowest spot actually goes towards the airport property.
Well,
Include that in.
probably should put a gutter there anyway. Okay?
Okay,
Because you're mighty close to the property line. We're trying to avoid any problems for the future.
right.
Okay? Any questions, board members? Anyone in the audience care to address this item? I'll entertain a motion.
I move that we grant the variance for the 1 foot 6 inch side yard variance with the understanding that it's necessary to place gutters there to protect the neighbor.
Y'all got it? Have a motion from Ms. Brown. Do we have a second?
Second.
Mr. Johnson, second. Any further discussion? All in favor, please raise your hand. Motion carries. Item 8 is presented by Lynn Trawick, representing Gloria Holder, requesting a side yard variance for an addition to the dwelling located at 5642 Ash Grove Court in a planned unit development zoning district. Mr. Trawick?
Gloria Holden was a resident of Birmingham, and she recently moved to Montgomery and purchased a home here in 5642 Ash Grove.
Okay.
She has asked me as a contractor to add a 10 by 35 screened-in porch. And when we plug in the numbers for the 10-foot porch and the 8-foot setback ruling, we encroach on the ruling by about 8 or 9 inches over the property line.
Right.
So we're asking for a variance on that because once you, with a pie-shaped lot as it is, once you get past that one single point, we're back within the 8-foot variance.
Right, got you. Any question, board members? Anyone in the audience care to address this item? I'll entertain a motion.
Move that we grant the variance.
Have a motion from Ms. Brown. Do I have a second? Second. Second, Mr. Williams. Any further discussion? All in favor, raise your hand. Okay.
Thank you very
You
much.
got it.
Yes, sir.
Item 9 is presented by Professional Engineering Consultant, requesting a variance to ordinance number 27-2009 for additions to a building located at 1030 West South Boulevard in an M1 zoning district. Mr. Mosley.
Yes, sir. My name is Pat Mosley. I am employed by Professional Engineering Consultants. My purpose is to request a 2.3-foot variance for 2 additions the owner wishes to add to his existing service station and convenience store on the southern boulevard. Both he and the builder desire to build these 2 additions at the same floor level as the existing structure. But there is a rule in the city of Montgomery that any new structure built within a flood-prone area, the flood level must be 2 foot above the estimated 100-year flood level. However, there is an exception if the cost of the renovation is less than 50% of the value of the existing structure, then the rule does not apply. Personally, I consider a small addition a renovation, but it is a new structure, so here I stand. It just doesn't make sense to me that should such a flood occur, that we have 2 small additions standing above the water while the rest of this site, the service station, the convenience store, the street on the east side, the buildings on the west side, and even the southern bypass are covered with water. As you consider this request, please remember that in this area of Montgomery, we need new life, we need new construction, we need new jobs, and I thank you for your consideration.
Okay. Thank you. So the level of the 2 additional items, finished floor level, will be the same as the existing finished floor elevation
Yes, sir.
of what's already there.
Right.
And Mr. Mosley, would the petitioner agree to put all electrical plugs at least 2 feet above the finished floor elevation?
Yes, sir.
Well, at least 2.29 feet above.
Yeah, I understand. Okay. I understand.
Get it in the event of a flood.
Yes.
The electrical is at least above that level.
Yes.
Okay? Does everybody understand the request here? Okay.
You do need 2 feet above the required elevation, the electrical plugs.
I had suggested at least 2.29 feet above the finished floor.
That'd be the same difference. That'd be the same difference, I believe, Mr. President.
He's getting a variance of 2.3 and you said 2.9?
No, 2.29. I had suggested the plugs, any electrical, be at least 2.29 above the finished floor.
He's got to go 2.29 to meet our requirement.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Fine.
Got it?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Okay?
Yep.
Okay.
Above the finished floor.
Yeah. In other words, any electrical has got to be out of that.
Out of the
Out of the
flood
flood.
area.
Okay. At least 2.29.
Okay.
Higher would be better, Pat. Anyone in the audience care to address, excuse me, any more questions, board members?
No, sir.
Anyone in the audience care to address this item? I'll entertain a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve this variance as requested.
Have a motion to approve, Mr. Hughes. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second, Ms. Brown. Any further discussion? All in favor, please raise your hand.
Thank you all.
Motion carried. Item 10 is presented by Professional Engineering Consultants representing Miracle Deliverance Ministries, requesting a special exception to master plan approval for a church to be located on the north side of West Patton Avenue, approximately 215 feet west of South Court Street in R65M zoning district. Mr. Mosley?
We are requesting your approval to build a 1,600 square foot community hall in the area that was formerly the Meadowview Apartments. Now, I want to introduce to y'all Reverend Aaron Motley. Are you here? Who's the pastor of that church, and he will explain what they plan to do with this building.
Yes, sir. Please give your name and address.
It's Aaron Motley.
Aaron Motley?
Yes, sir.
Okay, Mr. Motley.
We propose.
And your address, please.
My home address is 7025 Chip Curve, Montgomery. Yes, sir.
Okay. Montgomery.
In Montgomery.
Okay, thank you. Okay, go ahead. And what we're interested in is, what are you going to do there?
Well, it is a church area, and we plan to build this as a place to worship, a worship center. Also, we'll be using it as somewhat of a park with an outdoor basketball area for the community. Eventually, when we complete the building, we'll have a family life center where we'll move the basketball court inside. We'll have a daycare and also a place for a youth facility where young people can come and have a place for recreation, as well as a senior citizens area. Right now, we're going to we want to start with phase 1, which is a fellowship hall. We're going to use it as a sanctuary, and that's pretty much all we're going to use this area for until we're ready to build additional portions of the building in the future.
So you're putting this 1,600 square foot building in the middle of this large piece of land to start.
To start,
And
yes, sir.
so you're planning to expand the ministry
Yes, sir.
on this property.
That's right.
Do you own all of this property?
Yes, sir. We own the 11 acres that's there currently.
Okay, so you can expand, build on it, however you want to do it. So,
Yes.
of course, whatever you add to this you'll have to come back to the board in the future.
We know.
You know, okay. So all we would be approving today is this 1,600 square foot building.
That's correct.
Now, where are you going to have, well, let me back up a minute. Where are you going to have your parking?
Let's see if we can, see if we're looking at the front there, it's on the side.
It was where that existing parking used to be to serve those apartments.
So you're going to park within the paved areas that served the apartments?
That's correct, sir.
Okay, so you got plenty of on-site parking?
Yes.
Okay.
They do.
Yeah, okay. And then there's hours of operation here, literally Monday through Sunday, and you're willing to comply with these time frames?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And you're going to use this 1,600 square foot building for church services, correct?
Yes.
And office?
Yes, there will be offices
correct?
and the church.
Okay. But your basketball games will be outside from 5:30 to 7 o'clock p.m.?
That's right, and I believe that's Mondays. Yes.
Monday nights?
Monday evenings.
Okay.
Good.
And it's going to be well lit, correct?
Yes, sir. I believe there are some current poles out there that we can place some lights on. So
That's
it will
important.
be, yes, sir.
Exterior
so there will be
lighting
lights.
is critical, okay? Particularly when you've got nighttime activity,
That's right.
okay? You okay with
Yes,
that?
sir. Yes, sir. We understand that.
Pat, is there anything unusual about this site we need to know about? I'm sure you'll be involved as it evolves.
Well, what's unusual about it, in 1962, when I graduated from university, me and my wife moved into a Meadowview apartment, so they're dear to my heart.
Okay.
Come to your home.
He gonna name the building after you or something? Okay, any questions, board members?
I have one. I may have missed it. Did you say that this is master planned right now, or
No.
are you just starting with this 1,600 feet and then you're going to let it grow as demand
Yeah.
occurs?
correct.
Okay.
Yeah. that's
Just
all we're
curious.
doing. Yeah, just curious. But as he expands, you're gonna have to come back.
We know.
Okay. Any other questions, board members? Anyone in the audience care to address this item?
Entertain a motion.
I'll entertain a motion.
I move that we grant the variance for the special exception for church use, and it says master plan approval, and master plan approval.
A second.
Please, all of the
All right.
things that you said you're going to do for the youth, daycare, basketball, recreation, and the seniors and fellowship hall and all of that, please, we need it. Thank you.
We have a motion from Ms. Brown. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second, Mr. Johnson. Any further discussion? All in favor, raise your hand. Motion carries.
Good luck.
Thank you for what you're doing.
Thank you.
Item 11 is presented by Brown Studio Architecture, representing Rivers Edge Church, requesting a special exception for a church to be located in a building located at 7735 Atlanta Highway in a B2 zoning district.
Hi, my name is Wilbur Hill with Brown Studio Architecture, here representing Rivers Edge Church. We are requesting a special exception to allow a church in an existing pre-engineered metal building in a B2 zone off of the Atlanta Highway.
Okay. Is the parking lot striped?
It is. It's very faded, but it is striped. It is currently striped with, I believe, let's see,
Would you agree to restripe it?
Absolutely, we are planning
What you doing about signage?
to. Signing will be on the front of the building.
But you're not gonna have a sign out on Atlanta Highway, correct? That's on somebody else's property.
Yeah, that's somebody else's property right now. We don't.
Right, so you're not planning to put a monument sign or pylon or anything of that nature?
Not at the moment, no, sir.
Your sign's gonna be on the building?
On the building, the front of the
Okay.
building.
What about lighting in the parking lot?
the building is currently lit with wall packs on the building. They're building wall packs all around the building.
Okay. And you're gonna use this only for church office and worship only, right?
There actually is in our application, I'm sorry, I didn't notice it was not included in this, but there is a daycare component of their operations that will be 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. Monday through Friday.
That's not in our agenda. Does that have to be re-advertised, Mr. Tyson?
Mr. Stanley, that's a B2 use. That's not before you because it's outright permitted.
Excuse me?
That's a B2 use. It's outright permitted. We can't
It is
prohibit.
outright permitted?
Yes, sir. We can't
Okay.
prohibit them from having a daycare.
Gotcha.
Yes, sir.
Board understand that? It's allowed anyway. Okay. Pretty clear. Okay, any questions, board members? Anyone in the audience care to address this item? I'll entertain a motion.
I move. Oh,
Mr. Johnson,
I move that we grant the motion as is requested.
have a second? Second. For Mr. Hughes, any further discussion?
thank
All
you.
in favor, raise your hand. You got it.
Thank you very much.
That's a good location for you.
It is.
Okay, do we have a motion to approve the meeting, minutes?
The minutes are
Have a
good.
motion, have a second? Have a motion to adjourn? We're adjourned.